Welcome to the channel, guys. I was almost a victim of a scam at a Ford dealership. You won't believe what happened. I can't believe that this actually happened at a legitimate business, at a Ford dealership. Guys, this story is crazy. So me and my dad drove an hour and a half to look at this vehicle. There's a podcast on us doing that. I'll link that in the description. But we drove an hour and a half to look at this vehicle. It was a 2003 Ford Excursion. We get to the dealership and we request to see underneath the vehicle, and no issues with that. They got a tech for us, put the vehicle on a hoist and raised it up so we could look underneath. Looking underneath the vehicle, I noticed the normal amount of surface rust on the frame. There was some rust underneath, but no holes. You know, it wasn't the most beautiful truck, but it wasn't bad for the year for being built in 2003. It looked decent enough. But you know, the brake lines look good. They had been serviced at some point. The work looked pretty good. All the lines at some point were replaced. For the most part, there was maybe one little spot that if I had to replace it, it wouldn't be hard at all to do, because it was just that last little bit. So that was good. Fuel lines look good. The frame was rusty, but I mean, what do you expect from a vehicle that age? But I did notice that it had an oil leak between the engine and transmission. The bell housing underneath the transmission was pretty wet with oil, and it was a little bit concerning. I kind of made a mental note of it. It seemed to be like there was oil on the ground underneath the hoist, but there's no way of knowing where that oil came from, so I just kind of made a mental note. So we lowered the vehicle. We look at it a little bit more inside because it was raining at the time, so we looked at the vehicle in the shop. We opened up all the doors, looked at the interior. Now, this was a police vehicle, so, you know, $6,000, $6,700 out the door, you know, isn't a bad price for a clean Excursion if there was no rust. But the interior was missing some things, which is, I was expecting that. I knew that it would be missing the center console and that it would be missing the third row. I knew that based on the photos that were sent. This actually wasn't a problem for me. Like I said, I was just hauling equipment and people in the truck, just maybe 4 guys, so I didn't need all the receipts. But you know, I figured that being that it was missing these components, I would get a better deal for the vehicle. So we're looking at the vehicle. It looks like it might have a water leak in the back, or maybe just the mat was just washed off. It's hard to say. Also, we noticed that in the rear of the truck, the rust around the wheel wells was pretty extensive. And I was very specific about the photos of the rust, and I requested more photos of rust around the wheel wells. I really wanted to see particularly this area of the truck around the wheel wells, but the salesman there sent me a lot of blurry pictures that I couldn't really see a lot of detail. And I told him, I questioned, what are you taking these pictures on? Because, well, I mean, can you grab somebody with a HD phone or a smartphone that can take a good photo and send a clear picture? Then he referred me to the website and said that I just had to trust him. And he said that, well, I said, what about the quarter panels around the wheel wells? I mean, how do they look? He said that, look, there's a little bit of touch-up paint around the wheels. I can't say the vehicle is 100% rust-free, but it looks like there was a little touch-up done around the wheel wells, just a small little bit. Well, in reality, the wheel wells had a huge 1-inch spot where all the paint was gone, and it was all touched up just with a brush type of paint, like repair, like a spot to repair just one little spot. So my dad was like, you know, that's not how it was described, and as soon as you hit any snow or salt, it's just gonna come back within the first time salt hits. It's just gonna blow up. It's gonna be a rust issue. You know, their whole wheel well is gonna be rusted out in 1 year. So that wasn't cool. You know, I noted that as well. So we decided to take the truck for a test drive, and we should have actually stopped at this point and just walked away. But, you know, I was still entertaining the idea. It's something about, you know, going at long distance. You get kind of too committed. I had a deposit down. So I got really committed to it, and I should have walked away at this point. But we decided to continue looking at the vehicle. We took a vehicle for a test drive. Power seemed okay. The brakes worked good. But my dad noticed that it smelled like oil. We get to a parking lot to test out the four-wheel drive. Now, keep in mind, guys, I put the four-wheel drive hubs in auto where they belong because they were locked when the truck was given to me. So I put the car in four-wheel drive, and four-wheel drive didn't seem to be engaged. So I get out, engage it a few times. Then I get out of the vehicle, and I lock the hubs, put it in four-wheel drive, and the four-wheel drive works. Now, that's not a common issue. That is a common issue for the hubs to no longer effectively work in four-wheel drive auto. It pretty much happens to everyone. But to me, it seems kind of dishonest to lock the hubs and drive the vehicle around with the hubs locked, so that when I try to engage the four-wheel drive, I would be under the impression that the automatic locking hubs were working. Because when you just lock them, when you just lock the hubs, it causes increased wear to the front end, but you really wouldn't notice it too much. So I think, their intentions were to trick me into thinking that the automatic locking hubs worked, so I wouldn't ask for any more money off. I mean, four-wheel drive still worked fine, but you would simply have to get out and lock the hubs yourself, which is not a big deal for me in a situation where I'm using a truck. And a lot of people have said, they probably didn't do that on purpose, but when you guys hear the rest of the story, you will probably think that they did that on purpose. I definitely think they did. So, moving forward, I decided to put the vehicle under some stress. I put the pedal to the floor. I put the brakes pretty much to the floor when no one was behind me, just to make sure, this thing stops, this thing goes. What am I getting into? Does it have power? Is it going to overheat? What's it going to do? So I put the pedal to the floor. Power seemed okay. Put the brakes to the floor. Brakes worked good. But my dad said, I'm smelling oil. I'm smelling a lot of oil. So we get back to the shop, and he goes, okay, yeah, the oil smells bad. It's burning oil somewhere. Something's burning. I get out of the vehicle, and you can see smoke coming out of the front wheel wells. Smoke, the oil's burning. What's happening is the oil's leaking down from the oil leak. It's hitting the bell housing right here on the excursion. There's oil pooling up right here, and it's leaking on the exhaust, because on the excursion the exhaust came into a Y pipe right underneath the engine, and the oil would leak right on that and smoke and blow the smoke out of the wheel wells. That's how bad it was smoking. So you could be driving down the road, or my guys would have been driving down the road, blowing smoke out of the wheel wells. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, what can I do? It needs a rear main seal. To me, it looks like it needs a rear main seal, most likely. How much will it cost for me to fix this rear main seal? Out of good faith, I was still willing to do a deal. I say, in my head, I'm kind of running through it. To remove the transmission, remove the rear seal, install a new rear seal, and reinstall the transmission. This is just off the top of my head. I figured it would cost about $16.50 because of all the work involved. I don't know if there's an easier way to do it. I don't think so. I think you'd have to pull the trans. So I told them, with it leaking oil the way it is, I'll still consider buying a truck if you were willing to take off $16.50 off of the truck. Now, keep in mind, guys, I should have walked away. This should have been it. Should have been over, and I should have walked away. But I made another offer. Just what I found, based off what I found so far. So I made the offer, and for $16.50 off, and the salesman had to go and talk to his manager. So they go in the room. I walk by the door, but they're kind of huddled together, whispering real quick. So I kind of stepped away so they can have their privacy. Then after that, he came back to me and said, you know what, we can't do that. And I said, okay, well, I'll get my deposit back, right? He goes, yeah, we'll give you your deposit back for sure. There's no problem. So we'll say, all right, well, we're out of here. Thanks a lot. And that's going to be it. So as we're walking out of the door, we hear a voice. Stop right there. Don't let them leave yet. What happened? What's wrong? Don't let them leave. Give us a chance to make you an offer. So I stand there for about 5 minutes with my dad. We're waiting for this offer. So he comes back with a piece of paper and he goes, look, I can't give you $1,650 off. What I can give you is $1,200 off. I'm coming 3/4 of the way of what you asked for off of the vehicle. And you say it needs a rear main seal. It's not hard for you to fix a rear main seal. All you got to do is pull off the cab and whatever, with all the stuff you're saying. And I'm thinking, well, and I told him this. I said, actually, no, to fix a rear main seal, you probably wouldn't pull off the cab. You would actually remove the transmission and get at it from the rear, you know, and put a new rear main seal in the rear of the engine, put the transmission down, and then that way you do it. I figured it costs about $1,650. I don't know exactly how much it'll cost right now, but that's my best guess. And he says, you know, he's kind of shocked that I even know anything about cars. Now, admittedly, guys, I'm not a mechanic right now, but I know a little bit. I've been around the block. I've done some stuff. I know a little bit. So after I said, you know, you pull the trans, you wouldn't pull the cab. That wouldn't make sense. And that would be more work. But so at this point, he kind of felt like I knew more. I don't know if he felt like that I knew more about cars than him or whatever, because I definitely did know more about cars than him. But he goes, he pulls out a can of engine seal conditioner to make the seal swell to stop the leak. He goes, look, you think it needs a rear main seal? You buy this car right now for at the price that he offered out the door was $5,500 versus $6,700 what I came out to spend. He pulled out this can of oil seal conditioner, engine seal conditioner, that will go in the engine and seal up all the seals from the inside out. I'm looking at him like, what is this? What's going on? He goes, this conditioner will go in your engine, and by the time you get home, it will fix that seal. Most likely. There's a good chance that this can fix your seal. Now, it's not guaranteed, but this stuff is known to fix seals. And I'm thinking, what is this guy talking about? And I told him, I was like, if I was going to fix the vehicle, I'd do it the right way. I'd drop the trans, install a new seal the right way. I wouldn't use a product like that. That's kind of like snake oil. You know, in this industry, you do things the right way. You don't just try to seal up the engine with the product that you pour in the oil. Those things aren't approved by the manufacturer, and they're known to not work. No legitimate mechanic will recommend you trying to seal an oil leak with some kind of additive. But he was telling me that this will fix my problem. He literally certified that this would have some kind of positive effect. Now, he didn't say for sure that it will fix it, but he said it's a good chance that this will fix your rear main seal issue. So at that point, I told him, you know, I would do it the right way. I wouldn't do it like that. And I kind of showed that I had more knowledge about vehicles in general than he did. Then he said, look, what if I told you this? It doesn't even need a rear main seal. It's going to be easier for you to fix this vehicle than you thought, because it needs a head gasket. And all you got to do, Sean, look, we've already put the car on the hoist and we know what's wrong with it. It's the head gasket, because one of my other guys wanted to buy the truck. He wanted this truck. And turns out what it really needs is not a rear main seal, but a head gasket. The right rear head gasket has a little leak behind there, and it's oil leaking out of the rear of the right head. We know it. That we were gonna fix it. Because I was asking, why do you have this product? Why? I mean, to me, you having this product means that you were gonna do something unsavory, something shady. you're going to put this inside a vehicle and try to get it sold so that the unsuspecting customer will have issues down the road. This is very disheartening to see this product in your store at all. This is a Ford dealer. This is not a Motorcraft product. Motorcraft does not have a product that seals oil leaks. They only recommend fixing them properly. He told me that it had a head gasket issue, and that was really what the issue was. So 5 minutes ago, you were going to sell me a seal conditioner that in theory could seal a rear main seal, but it doesn't claim to seal a head gasket. So you were going to scam me 5 minutes ago into fixing a rear main seal that with a product that only probably works temporarily, have me put this in my engine if I was dumb enough to do it, try to drive home, and that wouldn't do anything for a head gasket. So 5 minutes ago, you were dishonest to me. What in the heck is going on here? So he goes, all you have to do is pop off that head and put in a new gasket, and you don't even have to go underneath the truck because you can do all the work from top, and it's going to be easy. I told him, look, it's not as simple as popping off a head. You got to take off the whole top end, the intake, everything. Then you got to take off the timing system. So you got to take apart the whole front end, the whole front clip, the fan shroud, all that stuff, the space that you need to get to the timing chains. Then you have to go into the timing chains on both sides. Then you have to take out the oil pump. I mean, you might as well replace your oil pump at this point. If you come this far, you might as well do an updated high volume oil pump. Then you have to do a head. Then you have to see if the head's warped and see if there's any issues there, and if you need to recondition the head. And it's a V10, and it's possible to run into a lot of cost here. To replace a head gasket is significantly more money than what this vehicle is even worth. So even if you did the work yourself, it's more than what it's worth. So at this point, I'm blown away. I'm stunned. There's no way I'm buying this vehicle, even for the discounted price. But I'm trying to be nice because I'm surrounded by these guys, and I don't know what I don't know what's going on. So I told them, guys, I want to think about it. Thank you for the offer, but I'm going to think about it over the weekend, and I'm probably not going to buy the truck. And they said, look, if you want this truck still, we will deliver this truck to you 2.5 hours away. We will bring this truck to you on Monday. We will drive 2.5 hours. We'll tow this truck to you if you still want it. At this point, I'm totally blown away. And I told him, thank you. That's really nice of you. I really appreciate that. Wow, I'll think about it, and I'll let you know on Monday. Listen, guys, there's no way. When Monday comes around, there's no way that I'm going to buy that truck. Why do you want to get rid of it so bad? Why are you willing to unload this truck onto me? They're trying to dump this truck onto me, onto anybody, any unsuspecting person. They're trying to dump this truck on them, and it's probably not going to last more than a few weeks. It probably wouldn't have made it home because under power, when I put that truck under power, it just leaked so much oil on the exhaust to the point where it was burning it out of the head. Now, I couldn't tell, but just by doing a quick inspection, that it was coming out of the head. To me, it just looked like it could be a rear main seal. You could live with a rear main seal leak, and that's what I was probably going to do. I mean, you're going to have a little stain on your driveway, but it's coming out of the head. You can't live with an oil leak on your head. I don't think you could just run a vehicle like that. So these guys are willing to deliver me the truck 2.5 hours away if I take the deal for $5,500. There's no way that I want to take the deal. There's no way I don't want the vehicle. But the idea that you're willing to deliver it that far away tells me that this is a scam, and you just want to unload this vehicle. No one wants this vehicle. I can't believe in a million years that a Ford dealership, a legitimate Ford dealership, would pull something like this. It's unreal. Never. You know, I've made videos about different dealerships. Guys, it's not a big deal. The oil video that got a lot of views. Listen, they recommended synthetic blend. I recommended full synthetic. Whatever, man. It's not a big deal. They still were willing to put in the oil that I wanted to put into the engine. But to try to sell me a vehicle that's not safe, that could potentially catch on fire, that could leak oil down the exhaust and catch fire that close to the engine. That exhaust is pretty hot right there. Guys, I dodged a bullet. This could be a different video. This could be me showing you guys a 10 liter, or not a 10 liter, but a 10 cylinder 6.8 liter V8 engine that needs a top end rebuild with 180,000 miles. That's not worth the money. I could be in so much trouble right now, but because my dad was there, it helped out a lot. He reminded me to put the vehicle on the hoist. It helped me out a lot. Thank you, Tony, for going with me to look at this vehicle, because I potentially could have made a huge mistake. Guys, looking at used vehicles is a lot of work. It's hard. I should do a series on how to inspect a used vehicle, because it is rough out here. Oh my goodness. You looking for a used vehicle, it's got to be like top of the line. That's top of the charts on hard to do. It's easier to buy a new vehicle, 100%. It's so much easier to just sit down on your computer and pick out all your features, click, 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 and pay the money. It's just easier to pay the money. I'm finding that I put so much time into trying to find a used vehicle just so I could save money, but it's easier to pay the money, guys. The $800 plus a month for a new Super Duty, guys. Keep in mind, guys, Dorian Ford's going to be probably selling this as a demo. It's actually a loaner right now, so if you're looking for a good deal on an F-150, check out Dorian Ford. They are demoing these and going to be selling them at, I think, 2,000 miles. And this particular truck has a panoramic sunroof, which is going to be a really good vehicle, a good affordable vehicle with a lot of good features. XLT 302A trim with the panoramic moonroof. But anyway, back to the story, guys. The little bit of complaints that I've had with other dealerships that recommended synthetic blend, that's nothing. They haven't done anything wrong. But what happened at this dealership, guys, is 100% wrong. They knew it had the head gasket issue, burning oil. They knew they had snake oil on the desk. What kind of sales tactic that was, I have no idea. It doesn't even make sense. How could that guy even be the sales manager? He doesn't know how to sell vehicle, guys. I can't believe it happened, but it did. But we dodged a bullet. The search continues, guys, for a good used vehicle for snow service, guys, for our snow route. I want to get something safe, something that's not gonna have rusty brake lines or safety issues. And having a vehicle like that burning that kind of oil would be a huge safety issue. You've got fumes pulling up to a client's house and just blowing smoke, and then eventually when it just fails, I probably wouldn't have even made it home. So thanks for watching. Share the video, comment below, and hope to hear from you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.